Hey everybody. So I wanted to discuss, sort of bring up a topic for conversation that I think is very emotionally, probably very difficult for some of you, but I think is very, very important. And I'm going to draw from some clinical experiences I've had to try to make this point very clear. So what we know about depression is that it does sort of look like chronic pain. Chronic pain sort of interferes with our ability to really make sense of the world, to be motivated to live, really. When there's this sort of helplessness and hopelessness associated with the inability to really feel better, but rather just sort of this chronic sense of despair or suffering. This is sort of how we contextualize and understand depression. And I have had an immense interest and passion for trying to confront depression using what we know about the affective neuroscience rather than sort of the more traditional understanding. And what the affective neuroscience has really taught us is that depression looks more like chronic pain and then a lack of really positive emotions, or what's referred to as sort of a lack of incentive to engage in play and goal-oriented behavior. So when we're thinking about chronic pain, I think we need to really think about the brain system that's associated with chronic pain if we're going to really sort of make sense of what depression really is. And what we've learned is that it seems to be fundamentally related to a brain circuit that's responsible for attachment. So we come into the world and we are dependent really upon our attachments to grow, unlike any other animal. So you can imagine when our attachments don't go the way they really should, when they're insecure rather than secure. And the resulting feeling that happens when our attachments result in a sense of disconnection. And it's very normal to feel pain when we are disconnected or cut off from our attachments. It's very normal. But what becomes an issue, and what I would think of as psychopathology, is when we have a chronic experience of disconnection, helplessness, and hopelessness. So this video really was going to try to talk about understanding the brain circuit associated with these symptoms. And it seems to be associated with attachment. And the attachment system is really there to motivate us to solve those attachment problems, to reconnect in the face of disconnection. So when I worked on the inpatient unit with kids, I saw a lot of panic episodes and panic attack, and I would invite you to reflect on your own life with your own experience of negative emotion. But specifically, if you do have an experience that supports this hypothesis, this approach to understanding, please share below, comment below. Do something to help people to understand that this is very normal, this response of panic. So there's a circuit in the brain that really motivates us to reconnect with others. But what happens when we can't, when we have someone who rejects us and does not ever reconnect with us? What happens when we have an experience of a lack of control over the loss of a loved one, when someone dies? Well, frequently people experience what's called panic. And panic, I think of as sort of the extreme representation of the inability to reconnect with that attachment figure. And honestly, people can be more or less prone to experiences of panic when they are unfortunately separated from a loved one. And I think that we heal each other when we come together, when we lose loved ones. And I would say that as a rule, INFPs, specifically those prototypical artist types, will be higher and be more vulnerable to what's called negative emotionality. So they do have this beautiful sensitivity, and subsequently will feel a lot of pain when they lose another person, will feel a lot of disconnection. And I would say that that's a beautiful way of being, and I want to affirm who you are as a highly compassionate and sensitive person. But I would also tell you that there's something about you that has needs to really deal with that pain and express that pain, not in isolation. Panic seems to be mostly exacerbated by depression, exacerbated by isolation and withdrawal from other people. So, in summary, in this video, I talked to you about the panic system as understood within the context of human attachment and the loss of attachment. Iacobucci did map this in the brain. He says that this system seems to be associated with what are called endogenous, which is just within the brain, opioid receptors. So we do have an experience of physical pain when we do experience loss of a loved one or disconnection. And when we do feel like we're going to lose another person, we do experience grief, and subsequently we may actually feel panic. So I'm here to kind of affirm that as being relatively normal, so that we can start to take a little bit more responsibility with our feelings of panic. Because as human beings, we do need to feel like there are people who we can safely grieve with and suffer with. And I think that's the real beautiful work of psychotherapy. So if you're interested in trying to understand mental health issues from this perspective, let me know. Comment below, like the video. Remember, we all need each other to heal. And it really starts with confronting loss in our lives by being public about the loss, and really honoring the loved ones that we've lost. There's great healing in kind of confronting pain within healthy attachment and social life. Okay? See you soon. Bye.